will be joined by other folks as we move along. So first, a shout out to Brian Anderson, our UVM intern, who has been assisting us all year with the Older Vermonters Caucus. We really appreciate that, Brian. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
And I just want to ask if there are any representatives on the call who have any updates from any legislation that they have that they see moving in their committee that might be impacting older Vermonters. Looks like the representatives are taking a little longer to join. I see Representative Hango is here, and myself right now. That's it for representatives. So, okay, we'll ask.
I guess that doesn't give us very many people to update on legislation, Teresa.
I know. Well, we'll ask the question again when we get towards the towards the end of the meeting as well, because I know there will be several more people joining us. They're just probably grabbing a bite to eat and finishing up on committee. But this afternoon, we are really delighted to have Linda. Linda, help me pronounce your last name.
Oh, Witchlack.
Witchlack. Okay. From the the Association of Vermont Adult Day Programs here. And as most all of you know, and as we will share, the Adult Day programs serve a vital role in our communities in helping our older Vermonters remain at home with family members and remain part of their community. And they are really organizations that operate pretty much on a shoestring budget. And the pandemic has hit them particularly hard in this from a perspective of the population that they serve, but also from a financial perspective. And we have seen 3 Adult Days programs close as a result of the financial stress of the pandemic. And that has directly impacted individuals who received that support and their family members. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Linda, who has a presentation to share with us. And Linda, how would you like to handle people's questions? Would you like them to hold their questions till you're done, or are you kind of like ebb and flow and you like them to ask it as it comes along? It's totally up to you.
Well, why don't I go through my presentation and then we can have questions. I'm very honored today to have Elizabeth Nemi, who is a family member, who is joining us today to help us understand the family's perspective on the impact that Adult Day has.
Thank you, and welcome, Elizabeth. Nice to see you here, and appreciate so much you being here to share a personal perspective about the impact of the Adult Day programs and this pandemic has had on your family. So, okay, Linda, why don't you go ahead, and folks, if you can hold questions, write them down so you don't forget them. And when Linda and Elizabeth are done their presentation, then we will open it up for questions. Okay, take it away, Linda.
Okay, I'll make my apologies right now. I am technically challenged. So if I cannot access the slides show presentation, I know Brian has my back. So thank you. All right, let's see if we can make this work. So my name is Linda Witchlack, and I'm the Executive Director of Bennington Project Independence Adult Day Service and the current president of the Vermont Association of Adult Day Services. I would like to start off with just giving a brief overview of what Adult Day Services really are.
Linda?
Yes?
Are you thinking that you're sharing your screen right now?
Yeah, it did not?
It did not, no.
Okay. Well, let's try this again. All right. How about this way?
Do you have a little button that says share content?
Nope.
Or a screen share?
Are you able to, let's see. I'm so sorry about this.
That's okay. Would you like Brian, do you have a copy of her presentation?
Yeah, I have a copy. I could share it.
That would be great. Thank
Does that
you.
work better?
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll just need to cue him, Linda, on when to flip the slides. Okay.
Thank you.
We are seeing that now. Brian, if you could do full screen, that'd be great. Okay, all right. We are off and running, Linda. Go
All
ahead.
right. Thank you so much. Next slide. So adult day services are community-based non-residential services designed to assist older persons and younger adults with disabilities, cognitive and physical impairments to remain active in the communities by maximizing levels of health and independence and supporting optimal function regardless of the challenges that they face. So we serve a very wide range of individuals. Our adult day centers provide a safe and supportive environment where participants can receive a comprehensive array of professional health and therapeutic, nutritional, social, and life-enriching services. We also provide a very strong program for respite for family caregivers, support, and education. Next slide. So adult day services are a creative and compassionate and cost-effective alternative to traditional nursing home care. We sprang from the same need as childcare, the need for a safe and supportive environment for individuals. And we have grown well beyond that traditional role. Next slide. Many people have some questions about who can attend adult day. So it's basically any individuals who are 60 or over. Many programs are serving adults age 19 and over who may have a disability. It's basically anyone who can benefit from some sort of daytime support or supervision, and that is a wide range of individuals. Persons who are socially isolated without a lot of family and friends, and especially in our rural state, that can be quite an issue for individuals. Persons with medical and health needs that would benefit from some daytime support and supervision and nursing oversight. Persons who are not bedbound. Right now, there are no gurney services to adult day. That doesn't mean that programs not necessarily would be able to not service those people, but it's the transportation that's the issue for those individuals. We do have a number of individuals who are non-weight bearing, so we use lifts to assist those individuals. Persons who are developmentally delayed. We work very closely with the mental health system. And so there are some individuals that we have received contracts to work to provide adult day services for those individuals, as well as people who are not accessing that service track, and they come to us and receive services. Persons with emotional issues. We see depression, grief, anxiety, as well as some of the major psychiatric diagnoses. Again, it's in conjunction with the mental health system. We do have people who have mobility issues, people with walkers and wheelchairs, and who need assistance. And as we're discovering now with COVID, people who have been homebound for such an extended period of time are very deconditioned. And so what they had for mobility before is an issue now when they will be returning. Persons with cognitive or personal care issues. We do a tremendous amount of assisting people in the bathroom, showers, hair care, nail, and we'll be discussing that a little bit further. But often, as you know, continence issues is one of the major reasons why someone might need to receive institutional care because of the stress on the families and providing that level of care. People who would benefit from some sort of feeding or nutritional issues. It's a wide range of individuals, from people who just need a little bit of assistance with understanding some of their nutritional benefits of healthy eating to feeding tubes and all of the assistance in between. Persons with Alzheimer's disease and other kinds of cognitive impairments, as well as individuals with acquired traumatic brain injury. Persons facing end-of-life issues. We work closely with hospice programs, so people can attend our program as long as they are physically able to tolerate leaving their home and coming to us. And people who want to have fun. We are party animals, believe it or not. We love to have a good time and really fan that spark of life, which is so important. Next slide, please, Brian. One of the hallmarks of Adult Day is the comprehensive nursing care and healthcare support, as well as medication assistance. Many people are not aware of the total range of healthcare services that we can provide. And it may include, let's move to the next slide. That'll probably illustrate that a little bit better. So Adult Day services have nursing, nurses on staff, licensed nursing assistants, and physician consultant oversight. So we provide a wide range of healthcare services, from monitoring health status of individuals. Because they come to us during the day, we're able to see them and see changes more rapidly than someone who may only be able to see their doctor or their other kind of healthcare professional on a less frequent basis. Medication management is another huge piece, helping people manage their medication, they have questions about their medication. Some programs even pour meds for individuals. And this is often in conjunction with home health agencies and obviously with physicians. We provide emergency care support should someone become ill at the Adult Day program, and a tremendous amount of liaison and service coordination with the Council on Aging, with the home health agencies, with the physicians, rehab services, to try to put together a seamless package for individuals that we all can work together. Providing healthcare education, because many people, they will receive some information from their physician and they think they understand it, and then they get home and they really don't. So it's a good opportunity for our nurses to be able to help people understand the true ramifications and what they can really do to make their health the best possible, as well as routine nail and foot care and the traditional things that you would consider, such as blood pressure and weight monitoring. Many people are not aware that we also do dressing changes and aerosol treatments and oxygen therapy. Some programs, Brian, if you can click again, there we go, thank you. Some programs also provide blood draws for individuals and Doppler ultrasound. So there's a wide variety of services. Basically, it's any healthcare service that might be provided within a nursing home type of situation, we can generally provide in most of the Adult Days. We also provide continence care, which is a huge piece of what we do. Limited bathing and shaving. We have people who come and utilize our services because their bathrooms may not be accessible. They may have a tub that they can't get their leg over, so they can't get in to bathe comfortably or safely. So they come to us, and maybe they bring their clothing and they take their showers independently, but the majority of people need assistance and they benefit from having that extra helping hand. We monitor people for swallowing issues and choking issues, providing, as I said, the feeding assistance, as well as limited oral care, assistance with their dentures and tooth care. And OT and PT and ST follow through. We do not necessarily, there are some programs who do have those people on staff. Most of us follow through with the care plans just as a family would, work closely with that therapist, and then we provide that sustained care after their service is ended. Mobility assistance, which again is a huge piece of what we do. We all have dietary consultants, registered dietitians that consult on our food programs, and a tremendous amount of, again, healthcare education and support. All of our staff are CPR and AED trained. Next slide, please. We have a lot of fitness and restorative assistance. Again, because people are coming to us during the day and we do find that their physical conditions, they need a lot of help with regards to getting their mobility back or maintaining what they have or enhancing what they have. So again, there may be a PT on staff or an OT on staff, or there is that consulting program. We all have daily fitness programs. We may have walking clubs, Tai Chi, Qigong, a wide variety of physical opportunities, dance movement therapy, you name it. There's probably different ways to keep people moving, and all of our activities usually involve some sort of motor activity to try to, again, I hate to say this, but kind of fool people into moving, because a lot of us don't like to move. If we call it exercise, we don't want to do it. But if we make it fun and interesting, then it's amazing how lively people can get. And there is some serious competition, I will tell you, with some of these activities. Next slide, please. We do provide the full range of personal care, again, from those showers, as I discussed, to assistance with personal care in the bathroom, and shampoos and the full range that one would expect. We are not necessarily trying to replace the care that someone would receive at home. It's in addition to, or if they can't access it comfortably or safely in their own home. And the personal care is done very sensitively and very personally. And if you walk through an adult day, chances are you may find laughter or singing coming from the bathroom, and you wonder what the heck is going on in there. And because our staffs are very, very sensitive to trying to make this kind of very delicate situation of assisting someone with personal care both a fun and a very caring experience. So there are some, like I said, you never know if you're going to hear laughter or good times coming out of the bathroom, and you're not invited to the party. Next slide, please. We do provide healthy meals and snacks and encourage hydration and nutrition education. All of the programs provide access to lunch and snacks. Hydration is a huge piece because most of us, and probably some of us on this Zoom today, do not drink enough. And that definitely affects cognition and general health. So encouraging hydration is a huge piece. And the healthy meals and snacks. And some of our programs are also congregate meal sites through the Council on Aging. And so we love to eat, so we love to bake, we love to cook. And many programs either have contracts with outside vendors for food preparation, or some people have their own kitchens and are able to tailor. We do have very specialized diets, from diabetic diets to low K, all of the range that we can provide, whatever an individual needs to be safe. Next slide, please. Adult Day, one of the hallmarks are the individually tailored programs. They're designed to maximize engagement and to promote an individual sense of purpose for a really wide variety of people, as we demonstrated earlier, that access our programs. And it isn't just one or two programs a day. There are programs constantly going on. There may be one-to-one small group. And again, it is based on the individual's needs and interests. Some programs may have smaller levels of activities. I know I can speak to my own program. We offer between 18 and 25 activities a day for people to pick and choose. So it's a very important piece. Engagement is huge for individuals because just as we retire or we may have a disability, we do not lose that sense of needing to have a sense of purpose and meaning in our lives. And we can do this. This is not activities for busy work. They're done therapeutically, and they're done for fun and engagement. Next slide, please. We do provide assistance with learning and relearning skills and activities of daily living, again, to build self-confidence and a sense of independence. We may have an individual whose spouse has passed away, and they come to us for maybe just a little while they are going through the bereavement process and struggling with grief. And that spouse may have done the cooking, or that spouse may have done the laundry, and that person may not know how to do that. So sometimes it's teaching basic life skills so that they can, again, feel that they have some control and over their lives. And so we do our best to provide that. Next slide, please. Life enrichment opportunities, educational classes, creative growth, and personal exploration. So we do have art therapists in some programs. There are music therapists in some programs, dance therapists. Accessing the arts and ability to try new things is huge in Adult Day. An example being a gentleman with advanced Alzheimer's disease, and his wife came to the Adult Day and was just shocked because her husband was playing the drums. He never played a musical instrument in his life, but at that particular time, he had an opportunity to experiment with drums, and you just found a passion for it that was still alive, even with the overlay of the Alzheimer's. So you never know how people are going to find ways to express themselves, even facing many challenges. Next slide. And we love to promote laughter and fun and social connections to combat the mental and physical effects of loneliness and isolation. And we know that loneliness and isolation can incur premature or promote premature morbidity by about 14%. And so it's really important for us to really take a look at the impact of loneliness. And again, trying new things and those social connections. And this happens to be a hula class. They took that. Now they're performing at a luau at one of the adult day programs. I tell you, we're wild people. Next slide, please. The impact of COVID on Adult Day, as Representative Wood said, was very profound, as it was with many programs and services during this pandemic. And 3 programs did permanently close. The 11 remaining adult days had to suspend in-person services, lay off staff, and attempt to find ways to stabilize the continuing fixed costs. Adult day services are attendance-driven funded. So without people coming to the adult day program, the money basically stopped. So with the closures, programs went months without any revenue. And without the legislative appropriation of COVID relief funding, the adult day industry would simply not have survived. And we are tremendously grateful for the forethought of the legislators and their ability to help us survive this. Again, we can't stress this enough, the adult day industry simply would not have survived. And many adult days have really stepped up and reinvented themselves with the concept of adult day without walls. And we hope to safely resume in-person services and utilize and build on the success of the Adult Day Without Walls programming so that we will create a hybrid adult day format going forward. Next slide, please. So what is Adult Day Without Walls? Adult Day Without Walls, I first want to stress, is not a duplication of services. There are wonderful services provided by the Council on Aging and through home health agencies. And you may see some of these things and wonder, well, I think that those other agencies do that. Well, yes, they do. And these are extensions and supports. So building together creates a stronger service network. So we provide telephonic support and check-ins, as well as telehealth consultations with our nursing staff, and social work support. Many programs have social workers who provide additional support besides the case managers through the Council on Aging, and a wide range of obviously telephonic and Zoom activities. So we've really reformatted some of our in-house activities and created them, put them on Zoom or telephonic. And there's creative art groups. Some of us have created YouTube stations. So we have YouTube programming, which was a very unique thing for us. And facilitating telephonic and online social networking, helping people reconnect with each other outside of us and learning how to do that through Facebook or telephonic. That's been a huge piece because they've missed that friendship and support that they've had when they've been isolated during COVID. We do provide online and telephonic caregiver support and in-home technology support. And just like Brian is wonderfully doing for me right now, we have staff who go to an individual's home and help them access, whether it's dialing in on something or setting up their computer so that they can access the Zoom activities. And sometimes that happens every single time it has to occur because that individual is simply not able to grasp or put these things in place. And we're more than happy to go to the house to do that. We deliver activity packets that are specialized for individuals, as well as foodstuffs and different supplies, whatever somebody needs, and provide some access to meals. Again, their wonderful Meals on Wheels program is out there, but there's also many other people who are not accessing that who need additional access to meals. Porch visits, we go and visit people and keep socially distanced. And some of us have had parking lot parties, socially distanced, of course, again, to try to bring people together. And we've provided assistance with accessing the COVID vaccination process and provide limited transportation with that. So, and there's so much more that we can certainly talk about, but it's really a wonderful opportunity to expand the range of what Adult Day can provide, both in person and online. Next slide, please. What's next for us? The governor has recently announced that adult day programs can begin to look at reopening. The resumption of in-person services with a significantly reduced census and COVID precautions and space considerations, we anticipate that our census is going to be 50 to 75% below pre-COVID capacity. So we're talking about a very, very limited capacity for adult day as we restart. Hopefully that will get better as the pandemic eases and more people are vaccinated. But starting up, that's going to be a huge consideration. So the need for continued state support to offset the limitations of the attendance-driven funding and temporary reduced capacities is huge. We are not looking to have a handout. We're looking for, again, support to as we rebuild and move forward. The integration of remote and telephonic services with in-person services, again, creates a new model of a hybrid for adult day. And it also allows us to continue to serve people who are not yet able to return under the current precautions and space considerations. Next slide. I do want to thank you again on behalf of everyone from the Vermont Association of Adult Day Services, as well as the participants and family members for this opportunity. And again, a shout out to the legislators for the wonderful support that again has enabled Adult Day to survive this. And hopefully as we move forward, we can thrive. I would like to invite Elizabeth Nemi, who is a family member, to join us to give you a little bit more of a personal perspective of Adult Day.
Thank you, Linda, so much. And I was just going to ask Brian to take down a presentation, and he's on that already. So yes, thank you so much for that overview of how integral and the variety of different things that adult days do every day, even during the pandemic. So thanks so much for that. Now, Elizabeth, we'd love to turn it over to you to have you sort of give us your personal experience about how adult day impacts your family.
Yes, thank you so much. Really, I appreciate being able to be here and speak to all of you. And thank you, Linda, as well. And, you know, as I listened to Linda's presentation, it just reminded me and opened my eyes to even more of what they do that I wasn't even aware of, quite frankly, all of it. And it's really just amazing. So my husband and I live in Shaftesbury, and a few years ago, 3 years ago, my mom's sister passed away. My mom was 85 at the time. Her sister was 89, and they had lived together here in Bennington for the last 30 years, after a lifetime of obviously being very close to each other. And for the past, maybe the last several years of my aunt's life, actually my mom's time was primarily in taking care of her sister, kind of looking after her. Her social interaction really was just us and her church. So shortly before my aunt's death, we brought my mom to live with us here. My husband and I are here on our own in our home. We don't have children of our own. We do say now we have a child in her late 80s, but you know, we knew that we could bring her here. She was already diagnosed with mild to moderate dementia symptoms, mostly short-term memory, and definitely compounded by the grief. The loss of her sister was a turning point, honestly, in her daily functioning and in her memory. It changed dramatically. I think a few months after that, I went to BPI on my own. I met with Gina, the membership director, had a tour, because I thought, you know, at some point I need to have her do something. I have traveled for my work for the last 24 years. So a few years ago, I was traveling between 1 and 2 weeks a month, most likely. And my husband working here at home as a therapist in a home office. And so as my mom, of course, was declining even in little things, it was becoming very difficult just to have a normal working life or working day. I waited a week or so. I said to her, you know, this is a great place. I've met them. It seems really lovely. Why don't we go in and take a tour? Her first answer was, no, I'm not interested. I said, well, let's just stop and go in and see it. So Gina took us on a tour of the place. My mom had, you know, she's a little feisty. And in all honesty, she went through that entire tour, like with her arms folded. And when we got back to the car, you know, she said that she saw some people with walkers, it reminded her of her sister and got her very upset. And I thought, you know, I'm going to honor that. I'm going to wait a little bit. And maybe a month or two later, I suggested it again. And she said, oh yeah, let's go see it. I was like, okay, great. We went in, you know, I said, why don't you think about maybe just coming for a day? She was invited to spend a day as a guest. She loved the day. I just kind of took it step by step. You know, you come and go as you wish. It's an option. You don't have to go. I was routinely picking her up about 2 p.m. until maybe after a few months of one day, I picked her up and she said, why are you picking me up so early? You know, so like step by step, everything started to change. And really what I recognized that the first thing was just the care of that team, the care of the people from nursing to social work to the greeters at the door. Like she felt like she had her own club. She started calling it just her club. You know, when is she going to her club and what was going on at her club? And it gave her a sense of place. Like everything Linda talked about is so important with the care, right? Sometimes I think we think mostly of those physical needs that somebody might have, but the sense of belonging and the sense of emotional connection and the feeling that for her, she had something that was her own, right? Because I recognized like she lost so much. She lost her own life, her own home, her relationship with her sister, her independence, her freedom, her decision-making on many things. And it would be so easy to feel like you're starting to lose some of your humanity. And that time back at BPI was restoring that in a different way and just really making her feel like she had value and she had, you know, her space. And, you know, I was sharing with some people and in our town representatives as well, that the time at BPI, the space for her to be there gave that freedom to me and my husband as well. Because when we're able to work and we're able to generate income, you know, we can go and spend more money in the community. We can go out for lunch or out for dinner or just feel more free to be engaged in our community when we know she's in a safe place and she's engaged and having fun herself. You know, from the COVID time, first of all, I have to say, because Linda talks about a shout out to everybody, this group at BPI has been amazing. My mom is not in a lot of need of things like meals and care because my husband and I are here. And my work has been at home since COVID happened. But I still need to work at home. I'm on the computer, you know, most of the time. And the outreach, the daily phone calls, the connection has been so important. I give you an example of what I see and do on a regular basis. I do still need to check the bathroom more often. I do find her dentures in really strange places, like in the Kleenex box or, you know, somewhere in her bedroom. I have had to hunt for her hearing aids. I mean, sometimes, of course, I just think I don't know how I can get a day's work done, honestly. We've had to adapt to a lot. But what's interesting is to see, you know, there are some of those things in mental decline, right, that I expect. Now she's 88. There are things that are going to change. One of the things I think that is remarkable is she has lost no memory about anything about BPI. She remembers the people. We drive by and she'll always ask me, why are there cars there? Are they open? Why am I not going? And of course, I'm explaining how they're working without walls, but she remembers everything. And I think that that's so fascinating when so many other things will change. And, you know, without a doubt, the lack of the human interaction is going to make somebody suffer. I mean, without a doubt, she would be better with being able to be in that space. They've done everything they can by keeping her engaged, and it's worked. I mean, I see it's worked because she doesn't lose that memory. We had an appointment yesterday for her eyeglasses, and she wore a bracelet that she made in the craft day at BPI, and she remembers everything. She's like, I made this at my club, she's telling everybody. So I think it's so critical, from this experience of living with her. It's the emotional health, the emotional well-being, the mental support that, if she's mentally better, I'm mentally better, quite frankly. Like BPI saves my mental health, which, by the way, really helps my marriage. I'm sure you can all imagine. So, the effect of all of us as family members for our own well-being is huge when we know that an older person is being cared for. And, she had her vaccine the minute she was eligible. She keeps telling me she's ready to go back. She's safe and she's ready. And at the end of it, I said to my husband, now and then he's a little more concerned of her safety still post-COVID. And I said, she's 88 and she's at risk of everything. Like, she's at more risk of everything. But to weigh that against the support she gets at a day center, it's priceless. It's priceless to me, because I know that no matter what her last day is meant to be on this earth, it's better if almost every day she can feel this happiness, right? And this care and all these things that the day centers bring. It's been an amazing experience. Very new to me. My husband grew up in a European and Middle Eastern family environment. My mom is a first-generation American. My dad was born and raised in Scotland. In the European cultures, and in the Middle Eastern cultures, older people are with family all the time. There's a different structure, and we don't have that in this country. It's not our American culture or history to look after our older people. I'm almost 58. I guess I consider myself middle age, but if I'm going to be an older person in this country, we really need places like this, because we don't have the culture to embrace our older community and the elders of the family and look after them the way they do in other parts of the world. So it's been really a remarkable experience for us, and we're incredibly grateful. So thank you all, for having me as well, and I really appreciate everything you all do.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. That it's always, as legislators, I know that we deeply appreciate when people are willing to share their personal stories to show the impact of the supports and services that we fund and the policy decisions that we make, frankly, here. And I think it's so valuable when people are willing to step forward to do that. So thank you very much.
Anytime, anywhere. Thank you so much.
Well, we may take you up on that again. So you never know. Let's open it up for questions from folks. I know I have a couple to get us started, and then Representative Hango. The first one is, well, first to let people know that there is $5 million in additional one-time funding for adult days in the current budget that is making its way through the process. And adult days they do enjoy a significant amount of support here in the legislature. So I don't want to speak before, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I believe that should be okay. A question for Linda, and if there's any other adult day folks on here. As we know, adult days and senior centers are being allowed to transition to an open status, under, particular guidance. And I know that the right now, at least, it seems as though the health department is leaving some decisions, like whether to require vaccines for people, up to local entities. And I guess I am curious, given that the population that is served is a high-risk population, whether you will be looking at requiring some evidence of being vaccinated for people to participate in the adult day programs going forward.
Well, it certainly is a challenge. I think that the majority of people when we start, obviously our census is going to be very low. We're really only talking about maybe 10 to 20 people at best a day. So a number of programs are looking to require vaccinations for at least the first phase of those individuals returning, because that allows us to make sure that we have all of our safety things in place, and to see how the flow of people are going to be within our buildings, because it's going to be tremendously different with regards to having to keep the 6-foot distance. And so the experience of adult day is going to be a little bit, well, tremendously different. And we really have to find ways, again, to keep that spirit of joy and family and connection, but still safety. So I believe the majority of people are going to require vaccinations for at least the first wave. We know eventually there will be people who will be unvaccinated, but we also, several of us are struggling with the unvaccinated staff as well.
Right.
Not medically receive the vaccine. So it's
right.
An interesting problem.
Yeah, definitely an interesting dilemma. Representative Hango.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the powerful testimony and presentation. I have learned so much in the last 45 minutes that I did not know about adult days. I'm so happy I was able to be here today. I have a question for Linda, and it pertains to pre-COVID staffing shortages. Did you experience the same staffing shortages with healthcare professionals that others in the healthcare industry have experienced?
Well, certainly finding qualified staff is a consistent ongoing problem. And we know from many years, those of us who have been in the field for many years, the dependency ratio has changed dramatically, and the shortage of qualified healthcare people, qualified staff, is going to be just a problem that's going to geometrically multiply. What I can tell you generally from our member agencies, and I know from our program, is that we tend to have long-term staff. Once we get staff in, staff tend to stay because they are committed and dedicated to the concept of adult day and the culture of adult day. So once we are able to get people, they tend to be long-lived within there. The challenge, again, is both affordability of staff. This is where the reimbursement for adult day has been a real detriment, because for Medicaid, we were getting $16.72 an hour for individuals. Well, now as the minimum wage is raising, it's very difficult to find staff, especially healthcare staff, that are paid at a much more substantial rate. So that's a real challenge, and that's going to continue to grow.
Thank you so much. I apologize that I have to run to another meeting, but thank you all. I appreciate the work that you're doing.
Thanks for being here, Lisa.
Thank you, Teresa.
And we have another question from a phone, but I can't tell who it is. 5439.
Therese, it's Representative Morrissey from Bennington.
I was hoping you were going to be here, Representative Morrissey. So we have Representative Morrissey. And we also have Representative Whitman, who has joined us, both from Bennington. So thank you. Go ahead, Mary.
I just wanted to briefly say I don't really have a question, because for full disclosure, I have been a longtime board member of our adult daycare in Bennington. And I just wanted to tell you how fortunate we are to have the incredible director that we have, Linda, and the staff that we have. That we have an incredible program that has continued beautifully through with a great deal of additional work and hardship, but has continued through this COVID. And I can't thank Elizabeth for sharing her beautiful story about her mom, because I hear those stories all the time. And I've had so many folks come up to me now saying, when is the adult daycare opening again? We miss it so much, and it means the world to the folks we serve. So any of you who are fortunate enough to have an adult daycare in your region, you're very fortunate. But I have to tell you, we're lucky to have Linda as our executive director, but also as the chair of kind of the statewide this year. And I thank her for that, and Elizabeth for talking to you all today.
Thanks, Mary. Appreciate that. And I know from having driven by that you also have quite a beautiful location as well, with a beautiful view of the valley there. So I think you're fortunate in that, that's for sure. Okay, Joanne, we have a question from you. Welcome. We can't hear you, Joanne.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Yeah. The Castle Community Center has provided transportation to the Interage site in Rutland, and we know how valuable it is. This testimony today just proves how much more they provide than we even knew they provided, and we miss it terribly. It was closed, and we're hoping that it's a site that is being considered to reopen for the Rutland County area, because I think the service they provide is outstanding.
Thank you, Joanne. We definitely have been asking, I know that there are some Department of Disabilities, Aging and Independent Living folks on the call. And, we've definitely been asking them about, plans that there may be for not only reopening our current ones, but for reestablishing programs in the areas that have closed down. And I know that they are working diligently on that. The other thing I'd want to throw out there is maybe Linda or somebody from Dale. Has there been any discussion about, well, let me back up a minute. We've seen how vulnerable these programs are in a situation where you have attendance-based reimbursement. So, thanks, Angela, for popping on. So have there been any discussions about perhaps looking at a long-term funding strategy that might shift away a bit, partially at least, from only attendance-based funding and looking at some sort of, base level of funding that might then be supplemented by attendance? Any discussions of that happening, Angela? And so, Angela, why don't you introduce yourself just in case there's somebody who might not know you?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Angela Smith-Jang, the Director of Adult Services at Dale. Really appreciated Linda's presentation and Elizabeth's story. Absolutely agree that the adult days are critical parts of our home and community-based services for older adults and Vermonters with disabilities. In terms of the payment structure for adult days, I think the pandemic has really shown the fragility of the way that the attendance-driven payment model, how that doesn't really work, either short-term or really long-term. And so we have started conversations around looking at payment reform, looking at different models for paying for adult day services that would provide more stability and predictability going forward. So we've started those conversations with Department of Vermont Health Access in the payment reform unit there, and with VADS and the adult day providers. So just kind of beginning to look at that as an opportunity to look at some differences and see what might be possible with the funding that we do have, as well as potentially being able to offer more going forward. So I don't know, Linda, if you wanted to add anything else to that from your perspective.
I think you did a wonderful summary. Again, looking at the attendance driven, sometimes it's something as basic as the fact that childcare is able to be reimbursed for slots. So if a child does not attend that day, there still is payment to the childcare, but in adult day, there is no reimbursement. So we may be holding slots for individuals who may, because of the frailty of the level of frailty of our individuals, it's difficult to have a predictable attendance schedule. Mm-hmm. So just simply being able to fix that gap would be huge. But we are, again, looking forward to either rate changes or filling that slot or payment reform, because certainly Angela is absolutely right. The attendance-driven model for us, as it currently exists, really put the entire industry at risk.
Mhm. Well, just to be clear, the childcare is attendance-based as well, but they do have provisions for illness and vacation and training, and so they have opportunities for payment to be sort of a hybrid model of attendance plus other things. So, Representative Rosenquist.
Thank you, Teresa. Just curious, somebody could possibly answer this, probably Linda. What's the average private pay? Like, I'm thinking of veterans in our communities that may be interested in going to something that they maybe don't qualify for from the financial guidelines or whatever. What is the cost for private pay?
I think it varies per program depending on the area that they are in. I think generally the average for the adult day when we did a survey was about $18, $19 an hour.
Thank you.
Which, when you consider the range of services that people are getting, is a pretty good deal.
What sort of participation do you get from the veteran community?
Again, it depends on the areas. Some of us have a high veterans population and some of us have very few. There is a challenge with the Veterans Administration in terms of that it's a 5-hour cap for individuals. And for many times working family members, 5 hours of adult day is just not going to be enough, especially if they're trying to hold down a job. But we do work very closely with the Veterans Administration.
Thank you.
Representative Morrissey, do you have another question? Your hand is still up. I was just checking in.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't take it down. My apologies.
That's okay. No apology necessary. Just wanted to make sure. Okay. Anyone else have any questions or thoughts that they want to share?
Representative Wood, I did just want to mention that I put in the chat box to the link to where the restart guidance for adult days is listed on our website. So the guidance for reopening, as well as a list of all the adult days and their estimated timeframes for reopening as well.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Angela. That's very helpful for representatives to share with their constituents. Appreciate that very much. Okay. Thank you again, Linda and Elizabeth. It's been wonderful having you here this afternoon, and we appreciate so much everything that you're doing. And as I said, sharing your personal story is so valuable. And I'd like to just check in with folks now if there's any updates or announcements that people want to make before we sign off. So just unmute yourself and holler out if there's an announcement or an update that you'd like to give. And this is open to anybody. Go ahead, Carl, if you're, oh, he's saying goodbye. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I'm not seeing any updates or announcements. So thank you so much. And Dan, what do we have on tap for next week?
Next week will be the AAAs.
Okay, the Area Agencies on Aging.
Yep, Area Agency.
Thank you so much. And just a preview of things to come. Also, we are going to be discussing the hearing aid bill at some point in time before the session ends. So there's a lot of stuff going on there out in the community about that bill. So we want to make sure to address that here as well. So I think that we're all set for today. And thanks everybody for being here. Appreciate it. And we'll see y'all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cherry.
Thank you. Thank you.
All righty. Bye.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
help.
Of course.
Yeah, so I'm sure we'll be talking. Going to be in
Awesome.
Judiciary Committee after the floor on the advocate bill. Just kind of give you an update because I know you were involved in some of that with me.
Awesome.
So that will be going to Judiciary right after this. And then, oh, we're on YouTube. But that's okay.